Hi, I'm Alex Pokey.
And I'm Thomas Hunt.
And this is the Bad News Network. As of Thursday, the death toll in the Miami Surfside building collapse has risen to 64, with 76 other people potentially unaccounted for. After determining that the viability of life in the rubble was very low, especially in the time that has passed, authorities made the call to switch efforts from search and rescue to search and recovery. Christopher Valerian, the medical manager for New Jersey Task Force 1, said that you will normally find small voids of space between the rubble when one of these events occurs, but with this building, it pancaked down on itself, and the pressure from the top floors didn't allow for many of these voids to be created in the building. Families of the victims, and really anyone in general, are wondering how a building like this could collapse, but really there's no clear evidence on how it happened. I would hope that a building's last beacon of hope from falling wasn't a concrete pole, but I'm not a structural engineer. The town of Surfside has now sent letters to the Condo Association with the recommendation of hiring engineers to inspect the foundation in order to avoid any disasters like this in the future. Even with efforts now focused on recovery over rescue, families aren't giving up hope that one of their loved ones could be found alive under the rubble.
July 4th is generally a time to sit back and relax, cook up some hot dogs and burgers, drink some brews, play some cornhole or other random lawn games, and get along with your fellow man, but it turns out we hate something awful. After the 3-day weekend, the Gun Violence Archive reported more than 233 deaths across the United States. The good news is that this is a 26% drop from last year. Yay? If that number didn't upset you enough, there were over 600 people injured in more than 500 shootings. That is why those Karens reach out to their Facebook mom groups and ask the other moms if they think it was gunshots or fireworks in their neighborhood. At this point, it's a coin toss. 18 of the shootings were tallied as having 4 or more victims. States like Texas, Virginia, and Ohio saw heavy violence, but Chicago took the cake with 92 shootings, with 16 people being killed, and what authorities said was the deadliest weekend this year in Chicago. The victims of the shootings around the country range in age from 6 to 51 years old. Pro golfer Eugene Siller was shot and killed in Pine Tree Country Club in Atlanta, while multiple police officers were also killed all around the country. This just goes to show you the only way to keep Americans safe is to make sure we are all locked away like Rapunzel in our houses, with no contact from the outside life, just to make sure we all don't kill each other. Don't we have enough things trying to take us out? COVID variants, Loki variants, murder hornets, aliens, the sun. These things all seem a little more important, so maybe we should stop killing each other and start killing the sun instead.
Last week, North Carolinians were on the lookout for a venomous zebra cobra that was on the loose. All week, people were posting on social media with new images of the snake so people could track its location, with some people posting pictures of black hoses or dirty old socks laying out in their lawn, not really understanding what a zebra cobra looked like. Originally, authorities thought the snake was only missing for a week after the frenzy of social media posts came out. But after talking to the owner of the snake, it turns out the snake had actually been missing since November. So you just let a super venomous snake meander around town for 9 months just hoping it would show back up? 10 out of 10 decision making, my man. Since it's North Carolina, there are no laws about not owning highly venomous snakes, but you do, however, need to keep them in escape-proof enclosures in order to keep them at all. To keep the public safe. A law Christopher Michael Guilford must have missed when he started buying up all these venomous snakes. I didn't see many other rules about owning venomous snakes, so I'm not sure how Christopher f***ed this one up. Chris had over 75 snakes, and if there was one of them that shouldn't have gone missing, it was probably the zebra cobra. Not only is this snake highly venomous, it can also spit. Along with being an amazing rapper, it can also project its venom out of its glands and shoot it directly at people. This venom can cause tissue damage, blindness, and death, being most dangerous to small children and animals. Luckily for Christopher, no one was hurt by the snake. But unluckily for Christopher, prosecutors don't really care and are throwing any charge they can at him. He is facing 40 charges related to the zebra cobra and other venomous snakes that were kept in his parents' basement. All of the other snakes that were in his parents' basement were also confiscated by the state. Looks like Chris is getting tread on pretty well. Hey Chris, if you end up in jail, just remember if you feel something slithering around you at night, it's probably not one of your snakes.
As the United States makes its withdrawal from the Middle East, the Taliban is flexing on us after showing off containers full of weapons and military hardware seized from the Afghan military. The seizure includes 900 guns, 70 sniper rifles, and 65 vehicles. Since May 1st, the Taliban forces have taken over 120 districts, putting their total number of districts held to 193, with another 130 contested. While some Afghan military forces continue to fight, there have been reports of many military outposts giving up without a fight and allowing the Taliban to come in and take whatever they want. Even though the Taliban is the head of the evil empire of evil, they are still getting support from Afghan citizens who don't like the United States and US-backed government in Kabul. What makes this even more wild is that the Taliban is responsible for more than 40% of all civilian casualties in the first 3 months of 2021. As US troops continue to withdraw from the area, the strength of the Taliban grows by the day, with people fearing that they will no longer be willing to cut deals with the government and continue down the path towards civil war. Reports show that in Taliban-controlled areas, they are cracking down on women and girls and freedom and their ability to go to school, with some areas not even allowing women out in public. Regardless of how you feel about our troops withdrawing, the Taliban is evil. Like, real evil. It's a Medusa that has countless heads that needs to be constantly chopped off kind of evil. As the US pulled their final soldier out of Bagram Air Base last week, the Taliban took that as a moral victory, as the troop count to the base was over 100,000, but now would just be guarded by the Afghan military.
This weekend, defending hot dog eating champion Joey Chestnut broke his own record after eating 76 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. This was the 14th time out of the past 15 years that Chestnut has won this title, begging the question, what do you have left to prove? Besides stomach problems and explosive diarrhea, you also get a tiny plastic belt when you win this championship, which I guess is kind of cool. I don't know who bullied Chestnut in school into thinking he sucked at eating hot dogs, but whoever you are, you created an absolute monster. The event took place on Coney Island, where the contest first originated, when Irish and Polish immigrants would compete to eat as many Nathan hot dogs as they could in order to gain citizenship in the United States. Being a champion for the past 16 years is a daunting task, with new challengers coming out of the woodwork every day. The newest person to come out and challenge Joey Chestnut's record is adult film star Tiana Trump. Not only do I think she could win, this is probably the only person in the world to compete in this that will actually get me to watch the event. Bunch of dudes ramming hot dogs down their throats? No thanks. A girl who is a professional at putting wieners in her mouth? You bet. What's more American than that? Joey Chestnut isn't just the king of hot dogs. He holds over 50 world records in different eating competitions. Some of the foods he has demolished include chicken wings, Twinkies, hard-boiled eggs, and even mutton sandwiches. Yum. He actually holds more food records than any other competitor, and as of 2021, he had a net worth of $2 million, with most of the money coming in from tournament winnings and sponsorships. Good on you, Joey. Breaking your own record to retain your own championship with the most American food on the most American weekend of the year, George Washington would be proud. Right now, it looks like there is really only one person who could beat Joey's record, and it's this guy.
We can go viral with this one.
When people decide to run for a position in politics, they will probably start to watch what they say and how they act, just in case someone somewhere has their phone on. You say the wrong word or do the wrong thing, and your career could be over before it even starts. King County Council progressive candidate Ubax Gadahir, whose parents wanted her to serve on the Jedi High Council, decided to say F it and forget the general standard practices of politicizing and go right off the rails. Ubax got on a bus full of children and told the bus driver that the bus was not going anywhere and that this was a matter of national security, which prompted the bus driver to immediately call the police. Good on you. When children started to get nervous, Ubax told them that she was wearing loose clothing because she was concealing a bomb or a gun under her clothes. Naturally, telling a child you have a bomb and they are about to die didn't go over well with anyone on the bus. Children were soon immediately trying to climb out of the back doors or their windows on the bus. When Ubax saw this, she immediately called the children cowards, and that if anything happened to their classmates after they fled, it would be their fault. Now, that's leadership for you. If fear doesn't motivate them, berating them with name-calling and post-traumatic stress will do the job. This event took place in 2010, but now Ubax has decided to run for King County Council, and as you would imagine, this news has dampened her chances immensely. Oh wait, it actually has not. It turns out politicians can turn a blind eye to absolutely anything. Murder, pedophilia emails, and now terrorizing children with death threats. What a crazy job. You get to make the laws for the rest of the country without the need to follow them yourself? Wild! Ubax cites her mental health as the cause of her outbreak, saying that it was a trip to Dubai to see her in-laws. That makes sense. Your in-laws can drive you absolutely nuts. She claims that she was criminalized for her mental health when she threatened those children on the bus. But I think it was more about telling kids they were about to die that irked people more than your mental health.
11 people were arrested this week after an almost 12-hour standoff with police. At 1 a.m. Saturday morning, a police officer in Wakefield, Massachusetts, stopped after seeing 2 cars pulled over in the emergency lane on the highway. The 11 men were standing outside of the car, refilling the vehicles with fuel from canisters they had. They were all wearing tactical gear and carrying rifles and other guns. When the officer asked for their identifications and licenses for the weapons they were carrying, the men told the officers that they did not abide by the rules and regulations of the United States since they did not consider themselves citizens. Not surprisingly, this tactic did not work for these gentlemen, as the responding officer quickly called for backup. When more officers arrived on scene, a large portion of the highway had been blocked off to the public, and a shelter-in-place order was set for the surrounding communities. Eventually, all 11 men were arrested without incident. One of the men from the group was live streaming the whole event on social media, saying they were not anti-government or anti-police, while simultaneously not complying with government laws or cooperating with police. Seems a little weird. After being taken into custody, authorities found that none of these men had permits for any of the weapons they were carrying or licenses to carry them. They were charged with unlawful possession of firearms, among many other things. The men claimed to be headed to Maine from Rhode Island for training, and this didn't seem like the usual corporate team building type of training that you would usually see. Apparently these men are part of a group called the Rise of the Moors, a militia group part of the Moorish sovereign citizen movement who claim immunity from local, state, and federal laws. Unfortunately for them, this little thing called the Constitution makes it so anyone in this country is given rights or rules to follow, regardless if you think you belong here or not. I guess you could say that's a MOOR.
Haitian President Jovenel Moïse was killed on Wednesday after unknown assailants broke into his home and assassinated him. Interim Prime Minister Claude Joseph has declared a 2-week state siege. This puts the army in charge of security and justice and limits the freedom and information of citizens' rights. After the assassination, Haiti's police chief announced that following a hostage situation, 4 suspects had been fatally shot and 2 others had been taken into custody. But police were still pursuing other suspects as well. The killers, who are being described as mercenaries by the Haitian government, were able to gain access to the president's home after posing as agents of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. I have no idea how that gained them access to the president's home, but hey, I'm not here to come to your job and tell you how to kill people, so... Currently, the only motive that people can see for killing Moïse was that he really wasn't a good president. He was elected in 2016, but took office in 2017 after the results of the election were disputed by the second-place finisher, Jude Celestin. After this, Moïse made it clear that he planned on being president until 2022 instead of 2021, because of the year delay to get into office. To which everyone replied, "No thanks." It seemed like Moïse's presidency was marred by that one decision. Throughout the years, Moïse saw much political violence and even stopped a possible coup attempt where 23 people were arrested. For the past year of his life, the former president was serving under his own decree, not allowing elections to take place and dissolving parliament completely. I could see why that would piss some people off. With this death comes the possibility of more unrest in Haiti, with an even greater chance of violence happening in the upcoming days. Prime Minister Claude said that they are going forward with a new election and have asked the United States for help in that process, to which we replied, are we really the ones you should be asking?
And finally, in Florida Man news, everyone knows how to sneak stuff into a prison. You put a giant file into a cake, you have a busty blonde come in and hide a key in the side of her cheek, or you just go traditional up the brown trail. But I guess since all these techniques have been highly popularized by the movies, prisoners have to find new ways to smuggle stuff behind bars. A Florida man recently showed that he wasn't messing around with his priorities when authorities found crystal meth rocks under his penis skin after a strip search. Under his penis skin. If they are searching your dick skin, I don't think there is anywhere left to hide on your body where they're not gonna look, so be careful. Pocketless Florida man Shaft Bang Adams. Hold up. His name is Shaft Bang Adams? That is his real name? The only person who would hide drugs in their penis skin is a person whose name is Shaft Bang Adams. He was destined to fail from the beginning. Anyway, Shaft was charged with resisting arrest and possession of cocaine and methamphetamine. The luckiest person in this whole situation is the guy Shaft was gonna share his meth cock rock with. Sharing is caring, unless you're sharing something that was just hidden in your uncircumcised dick skin. Not surprisingly, this is not Shaft's first run-in with the law, as reports show he has been in trouble a multitude of times. This is also not the first time authorities have found something hidden in his penis skin. Police have also recovered the Ark of the Covenant, Jimmy Hoffa's body, and my car keys. Shaft is currently out on bond, but our guess is that he will meth up soon enough and be back behind bars. And with that, I want to go home.
And I'm Thomas Hunt.
And this is the Bad News Network. Our news is at least as bad as the news you're getting already, and if you didn't blow off at least one appendage on 4th of July, you didn't celebrate hard enough. Just remember, you can get 25% off rangerup.com using the code BNN. Thank you. Have a great weekend, folks.